Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. Things are not necessarily getting bigger, and that's not a bad thing. Tremors 2 Aftershocks. This is the 1996 direct-to-video sequel to the 1990 cult classic. The plot. Earl Bassett has just been living out the rest of his days as an ostrich farmer, and, well, one day he gets a visit. A Mexican oil rig is now in danger of having graboids attacking the area. He reluctantly gives in. And so the journey begins, but something is turning. It's like Aliens for the first 20 minutes. Then it goes off and does its own thing. This is how you do a movie like this. What do I mean by that? It takes place in Mexico. There could be tons of political jokes in there, but there are none. Even if the stuff that's happening now didn't happen back then as much, it still doesn't care to shove it in your face that this is Mexico. There's tons of different stuff here, so we're gonna try to be politically correct. No, the characters are fish out of water. They don't know what the heck they're saying half the time. They have to use a book to to tell people stuff in Spanish. I love that. Keep the politics out of my Tremors movies, and they have done that so far, so for the most part. Whoa, what happened to the change in quality? Well, I recorded my reviews for Tremors 2, 3, and 4, and surprise, surprise, the camera I was using, which was my iPhone I currently used, doesn't like to work with my video editor. So, I'll continue the review for Tremors 2 on this camera, as well as the rest of my reviews until this camera finally dies. So, yeah, let's get back to the review. You would associate the desert with dryness, sand, dust, but no, they really try to emphasize that this is a beautiful country in this area. For the characters, we have Earl Bassett, who is yet again played by Fred Ward. And I really like Fred Ward in this movie. I don't like him as much as I did in the first one, because in the first one, he had that chemistry with Kevin Bacon. Here he has a new sidekick, and he's not quite as good, but I also feel like they try to make Fred have a Val story so that he could end up with somebody, not his partner sidekick is the other lady in the movie. I'll get to her in a bit. Burt Gummer, played yet again by Michael Gross, returns about 40 minutes in, but it feels like a natural return. He's been sitting out, wasting his days away as just a guy sitting on a chair, eating food and watching military shows. Heather left him. Grady Hoover is Earl's new sidekick, and he's not really annoying. He's played by Chris Garton, and he has this childlike innocence to him. Everything's so cool and epic, and even the most mundane things are really sweet in his eyes. Radical man. And Kate Riley, who's played by Helen Shaver, is Earl's love interest, and she is a paleontologist. I think she's there to see if they uncover any fossils, but then the graboids attack, and then we find out something really stupid about the graboids. It makes no sense. I won't get into that because it's kind of a spoiler, but it really makes no sense. For the supporting characters, we have Pedro, who exists. Like in the first one, there are some characters that don't really need to be there, but they do. They just don't give them much to do. But Pedro's the truck driver. He is, I guess, cargo man. Julio, who has even less personality than Pedro, I think. Because when I was a kid, I thought Julio was also Senor Ortega, who's another character who just disappears in the beginning. He's like in the beginning, and then when they arrive at the oil refinery, and then he just disappears. He's never in the movie anymore. He says, I gotta take a call or make some calls, and then he's gone. We also have the oil worker in the opening scene. I bring him up because he's played by Thomas Rosalia Jr., who was also in the Lost World Jurassic Park as Carter. You know, the guy got stepped on by the T-Rex twice. There is a very gradual build-up. You know that this isn't going to keep on going the same way it starts off as, but they keep on blowing up the graboids, which in of itself is crazy because they're supposed to get smarter, and they keep on falling for the same trick. You know it can't keep going on like this, and even my friend, who was on one of my From Remote to Vote videos, said, oh, there's gonna be a queen graboid. But there is not. There is something else, and that is really a smart move on the creator's choice. All that build-up leads to something different. The new creatures are called Shriekers. They begin to aim low, then it gets louder, so they raise their guns, and then it pops out, and it's this really small thing. There's just a lot of them, and they hunt by heat signature, which is also very effective. This film had a $4 million budget, and not only did it do well on home video, but it utilized that $4 million budget to give us the goods. The gore, the effects. There are only 3 human deaths in this movie. Yeah, we get some severed arms, and somewhat nasty leg munching, but the effects are more important than the gore in this franchise, usually. And the Shriekers are very interesting. They don't really have arms, so when they run they're kind of hunched over to counterweight their legs, which is a very smart, natural, realistic approach. And they have these beaks. They're not really beaks, they're more like skulls, but they kind of look like beaks, and whenever they make a sound, it's a shriek. It's so loud, hence the name Shriekers. And also the graboids don't look bad. You would expect for them to look terrible with a budget reduced about 3 times the amount that it was in the first one. But they look good too, and not only that, the CGI is actually pretty darn good for 1996. They don't overuse it, and when it's on screen, I don't know if it's the lighting or the effects themselves, but it looks pretty cool. And they are very smart. They try to hop on one another to get up higher, and it's really cool. The motion picture soundtrack, Jay Ferguson has come to this franchise to give it a new twist. It's very cultural with the Mexican themes, but there's also a cool rock song that transitions to a mariachi band. I don't get it, but it's funny. The sound design is really good too. When the graboids roar in pain, that sound, even when I was a kid, scared the crap out of me. So what do I think of Tremors 2 Aftershocks? Well, it's really good. It's probably the best sequel out of the franchise, and that's saying a lot because there are 7 movies and a TV show. It has great characters and chemistry between them, some funny humor, and it just works overall. It's got great effects, music, it's a fun time. I'd have to say that overall I give Tremors 2 Aftershocks a 3.5 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the horror show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon, where even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I greatly appreciate it. Plus, you'll get access to body counts and other music videos that you can't get on YouTube because of copyright and age restriction. Also hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.